Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos about books and fandomy things. So if that interests you, then stick around. I totally forgot what I was trying to say then, but that's okay. So recently I got my hands on or decided to read some queer books that are on my shelf. Obviously not the ones that I decided to buy because they weren't on my shelf, but I heard about them and bought them, and there are a couple that I really loved, so I wanted to share them with you and recommend them and that you should go and check them out. So the first one you may have seen me talking about on my other social media, and that's Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuinston. And I absolutely love this book. I fell in love with this book and couldn't put it down once I started reading it. I was actually gonna buddy read it with a friend, and it got to the point where we just messaged each other and was like, we cannot read this in like chapter installments, we're just gonna have to binge it. And that is what happened with this book, because it was just so wonderful and so amazing, and honestly like one of the best books I've ever read. I loved it. This book focuses on Alex, who is the first son of the President of the United States, and his mum is the first ever female president. So he has to go to important things and meet important people, and one of those people is the Prince of Wales, Prince Henry, and he has to like see him in Buckingham Palace and like interact with someone who is in line for the throne in England, and they kind of start off with not liking each other, and there's kind of like animosity between them at the beginning, but then when something goes really wrong and this all comes to a head, they have to pretend to be BFFs, so they have to pretend to be friends, and then they start to actually become friends, and then they realise that, oh, they actually love each other. And I love this book so much. I really loved just how it didn't like there were those things about like the problems with the royal family and the problems with American government and like how politics can be, and that it's not always like a good thing. And I think it's really interesting to see that side of the royal family, because I think you do know that, like you think about the royal family's history and it's not great, but no one ever really speaks about it because it's kind of, oh, they're like the royal family and like all of this stuff. So this was really good. It was like a realistic exploration of that and America and England, and I just thought I did a really good job. And also I love all of these characters and it's amazing and wonderful, and I would 100% recommend this book. Then we have The Prom by Sandra Mitchell. I can't speak. This is actually based on the Broadway show of the same name, The Prom, which had a Broadway run last year and the beginning of this year, and this focuses on Emma, who is from Indiana, and it's a very religious town that they live in, and they definitely do not agree with LGBTQ+ people, but Emma was outed when she was a freshman as gay, and everyone knows her parents kicked her out, and she now lives with her nan, and it's just not widely accepted. She has a girlfriend, Alyssa, but Alyssa is not out and no one knows that they are together. But when their senior prom comes around, they do want to dance with each other, but it is not gonna happen. It is a boy and girl like dance. You have to, if you're a girl, you have to go with a boy. If you're a boy, you have to go with a girl. And Emma writing down her name with a made-up girl's name just so she can get there because it's couples only tickets, kicks off this huge kind of issue and kind of fight for allowing Emma to have a prom and attend prom, and it's everything that unfolds from there. I really love this book. I actually read this book yesterday in one whole sitting and absolutely loved it, and there were bits of it that made me cry, and I've been listening to the soundtrack as well. It's really good. There were a couple of bits where I thought, like, because it's quite a short book, so I think obviously bits happen that were a bit quicker than they would in real life, I think, but overall I did really love the story and thought that it was a really good like exploration of religion and LGBTQ+ issues and different towns, and kind of challenging the way that people think about things, and also picking and choosing things out of the Bible, because that's something people do all the time. They're like, in the Bible it says you can't be gay, but then they'll wear like double fabrics and like eat certain foods and stuff, you know. So I feel like that was brought up in this as well, that people do love to pick and choose what the Bible says, and that sort of really made lots of the characters in this think about what they were doing, and I loved it, and I just thought it was a really good sorry. I was interested to see what I was going to think of it because I've heard like mixed reviews about the show. Some people I know absolutely love it, other people were a little bit disappointed, but overall I did really like the book. Whether or not that would change if I saw the show, who knows, but I did really like it. And I have The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth, and this one surprised me because I read this book back in 2015 and I didn't like it at all. I found that it was a bit slow and a bit boring, and it was something that I just didn't have any intention of rereading, so I got rid of my copy that I had at the time and just planned on never starting it again. Then they released these editions last year for Pride Month and I absolutely love them, and I saw this and I was just thinking, like, I saw the film and I was thinking I should like this book. This book has things in it which I enjoy and I don't know why I didn't like it, and I just think that I read it at a time like when I didn't appreciate reading it. It was when I was in a reading slump. I was only reading it on my lunch breaks at work, and I just feel like it felt longer because I wasn't reading a lot. It was when I worked in the cinema, so my shifts would literally be until like midnight, 1 in the morning, so I would read on my like hour lunch break and that was it. I wanted to give it another go and I did, and I absolutely loved it, and I really thought this book was super important, and I love the film as well, and I just think that this deals with some really important things. This book focuses on Cameron, and her parents are in a car crash and unfortunately both of them pass away. Her first thought is that she is glad that she will never have to tell them that when this happened she was with another girl, and so she then has to live with her conservative aunt, who then finds out because of a girl that she was with, and she gets sent to a conversion therapy place to kind of change who she is, but she starts to realise that obviously it's not a choice, that can't happen. So it's kind of accepting who she is and accepting the way that other people think and kind of meeting other people like that. It explores so many issues that are still prevalent today that people still think about and people still like disagree with. Like, can you believe that conversion therapy is still a thing? Like, it's 2019 and it's still a thing, and it's terrifying that it's still a thing, and it's terrifying how different governments and how politics are still treating LGBTQ plus people. I hate it, but this deals with those things really well and in a lot of detail, and I really loved it this time around, and I'm really glad that I picked it up and decided to give it another go. And then finally we have Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. I don't have my physical copy of this book yet, but it did come out on my Kindle, so I have read it on that. I got it. It matches Baz's jacket. I love it. For those that don't know, Wayward Son is the sequel to Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which came out in 2016, and it focuses on Simon Snow and Baz, who Simon Snow is kind of the chosen one. It's essentially Drarry. That's what Carry On is. Simon Snow is the chosen one at Watford School of Magic, and Baz is his roommate, whom he definitely thinks is a vampire, and it's kind of him dealing with being the chosen one and defeating evils, and his and Baz's relationship. When I found out there was going to be a sequel, I was absolutely buzzing for it. I've been waiting for it for months, and then my friend told me that it was coming out on the Kindle before it was coming out in stores, so I was like, I gotta get on this. So I was able to read it and I absolutely loved it. It's such a good series. It's so much fun. I think that's the best way to describe the Carry On series, is it's just fun, and I really love them, and I really love Rainbow Rowell stories. So yeah, so that was just a couple of queer books that I loved recently that I've been reading and wanted to share with you guys. I'd love to know any more that you've read recently that you would love to recommend. Just please leave them in the comments because I'm always up for recommendations. Thank you guys for watching. If you are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fantasy things, so if you'd like to stick around and join us, then you can do that. And as usual, all the links to all my other social medias are in the description down below, so if you want to come hang out with me on there, then you can do that as well. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!